All right, so you know that working your personal habits determines your personal results, all right? What about your business habits? This is how that plays out. Less business, more profits. Lean, effective, strategic, and simple business. Let's talk about habits, right? We all know that personal habits determine personal results, all right? If you want to get to a certain spot in your personal life, you have to take the actions that enforce that result, right? Meaning that you have to develop the habits that are going to lead up to that set of actions. Now, what about the business? What about the business part, right? You can't actually create the same type of behaviors and results within your business if you create the right habits in your business. So let's break that down real quick. At the end of the day, it comes down to the same thing, all right? Bad habits are going to give you bad results, both personal and business. If your business has bad habits, it's going to give you bad results, meaning if you're not following up with your leads, if you are not, networking, if you're not creating any of that stuff, if you don't have consistency in your marketing and reaching out and prospecting, those are bad habits. They're going to give you bad or no results at all right? Keep that in mind. Now, we know that. How do you create the good habits? How do you, especially if you have a team, right? It's easier to create good habits from a personal standpoint. If you have that personal drive and that tenacity and that will and that self-fire that, just lights you up from within to get those results, it's going to be easier. Why? Because it's you're managing yourself. But what about creating habits at a cultural level within your company, at a business, level within your employees? What about creating collaborative habits, all right? Where the collective of your team, of your staff is knows that they have to enforce those habits. What about that? How do you do that? Well, it's actually easier than you might think. It begins with understanding that any habit is going to take about 90 days to actually solidify into routines, right? So when you to create a habit, you have to do it, a particular action, do something, and really embrace it for at least 90 days before it kind of becomes that automatic thing and just simply the way that you do things, right? So for any habit to settle in psychologically and to get wired into your thought process, it takes about 90 days of repetitive, consistent action, right? Just keeping it top of mind for at least 90 days and actually taking those actions. At first, you're gonna have to force yourself to do it. You're gonna have to remind yourself to do it. You have to push yourself a little bit further and further and further, out there to get through those days when you just don't feel like doing, whatever that habit that you're trying to build is, right? And then after a while, it just becomes one of those natural things. Month 1, month 2, about 90 days after that, it's impregnated in your wiring. Now you're wired to do that stuff, but you create it. It's almost like going to the gym and then having, doing a specific exercise for your biceps, or your biceps are growing. Now you know that your muscle understands that movement and it grows along with that, right? Same thing with habits. The only thing that grows there is the results, right? But you have to build those habits. Now, how do you get that across the table if you have a team in place? Start by quarterly themes, all right? Start creating quarterly themes. I picked this up a couple of years ago, and what I'll do every single quarter, and I do this for both my business and my personal life, right? So I do it from both angles, and I'll pick something. I'll pick a theme every quarter and really focus on that. Make that my quarterly theme. I understand that it takes about 90 days for a habit to really form and solidify and become just something that I do, right? But if I do it, if I push myself and I keep something intentionally top of mind for about 90 days, I know it's gonna burn itself into my mindset, and it's just simply gonna become a thing that I do. It's part of me at that point, right? Repetitive action builds up that awareness, and then it just becomes something that you do. Pick up a habit of going to the gym for 90 days, and then it's just gonna be one thing that you do. You don't even have to think about it. It's just part of your life. It becomes a lifestyle thing. Pick up a habit of eating healthy for 90 days. It's gonna become one thing, that thing that you do. Same thing goes for business. So one thing that I like doing, especially with my team, is we'll pick up a habit, we'll pick up something, we'll pick up a theme for the quarter, all right? And then everybody's on the same page about what that theme is. For example, I remember the third quarter of last year, we picked up consistency, all right? We have to stay consistent. That is the quarterly theme. The theme is consistency, consistency, consistency. None of that crap where you market for 1 week and then lay off for 2 weeks and then market for 3 or 4 weeks again and then you miss another week. No, it's consistency. Nothing matters more than consistency, staying consistent. And that was the theme for 90 days. All right, 90 days, it's top of mind, consistency, consistency, consistency. Now understand that this is something that you do on top of everything else, right? But if you're having weekly meetings, you bring up the theme of consistency. Everybody adopts that theme of consistency and they're being consistent in their own efforts, right? Because you're making it top of mind. You're making it top of mind for the business. You're making it top of mind for the operations. And everybody knows that it's important. What happens 90 days, you contaminate their brains with consistency, right? So it just becomes something that they do. The following a quarter, I remember we focused on systems and a systematic approach to everything and polishing those systems, right? We already had systems in place, but for that quarter, we really focused on polishing the system. So every meeting, conversations would come up on how to improve the systems that we already had in place because that was a quarterly theme. All right, so everybody just got on board about following the process, fine-tuning the system, seeing where the gaps could be filled in, and then just making the whole process work smoother, right? Because the quarterly theme was systems, right? So the previous quarter, we have consistency, then we have systems. Now we have 2 skills that are vital skills that everybody's adopting along, with you, right? Because you put it on the table, you have that awareness, and then you're building up that habit. And you introduce it to the team just like that, right? It's a habit that we're building. And the key thing is, if you make something top of mind, if you bring awareness to everybody as to what's happening and they know that it's a 90-day thing, they're gonna adopt it, they're gonna bring it, they're gonna enforce it. And and you don't even have to be there because it becomes almost like a team activity, all right? We're focusing on systems this quarter, so where can we come in and implement and improve and whatnot? Those conversations are gonna pop up in your team meetings. Now, again, these habits are skill sets that we wanna come in and refine. They're skill sets that we wanna become better at. The theme for quarter 1, 2022 is no hesitation. We are not hesitating. We're not hesitating on, and hesitation is different to procrastination, right? We have systems in place. We have all that stuff. We're not hesitating on pulling the trigger on the follow-up. We're not hesitating on opportunities that we come across. It's a simple way of getting us to deals faster. It's a simple way of moving things along faster. We have the theme of no hesitation. We're not hesitating on stuff that's already in place. We're not hesitating on stuff that's already in play. And it just, within 90 days is going to become a thing, right? What happens if you have consistency built out, if you have systems built out, if you have no hesitation built out, you're building a monster of a team, right? But that's how you do it. You adopt a theme for 90 days and you apply that. Right, it becomes the thing. Now, it's important to understand that you want to pick one theme at a time. If you pick more than one, it diminishes the importance of the others. Okay, so pick one thing that's important. You're gonna focus on that one thing for that quarter. Now, understand this is not the only thing you're doing. Your business and your process and everything is going, it's going along, right? You're doing everything else. Operations are still operations. This is just something that you do on top of everything to create a theme, to build a habit, to whatever you want your business to improve as a whole, all right? That's what habits are. And you start creating organizational habits. And it's not the same thing as core values. Habits are different, right? When you're able to just rewire the thinking, rewire the habits of everyone in your team, and they adopt those, your company starts to behave as one. Right? You have this collective intelligence just coming in and then taking action. How? Based off of the theme that you're working off. All right, consistency, systems, no hesitation, pulling the trigger fast and becoming more efficient and effective, right? You can pick different themes. So pick a theme, pick something, and think of a theme as something that you want to improve, a key thing that you want to improve on, all right? Pick one, roll with it for 3 months, turn it into a habit, and now it's just the way that the business operates, right? So every time you have a team meeting, whatnot, just kind of, bring it back up, bring the awareness and refresh it, make sure that everybody's following that theme for that quarter, and your business is gonna improve. That's how you build the business habits. Again, it's easier to build personal habits if you have that sense of self-accountability, right? It's a little more challenging to build it within your team. if there's multiple people that had to buy into it. That's how you do it. You create a theme, you keep it front of mind, you make sure that everybody has buy-in. If you have to do a celebration at the end of the quarter, if you just crushed it on that new theme, if the consistency was on point, if the systems got polished, if you see improvement in whatever that theme was, celebrate it. Celebrate your team and celebrate their efforts. Every single quarter that you do this, your company is going to improve. Your company is going to be that much better. Your whole team collectively is going to be that much better. It's simple. Do not overcomplicate it. To improve your results, you improve your habits. Organizational psychology tells us that if we improve our company's habits, our company's results are going to be improved. So keep that in mind. Better habits, better actions, better results. All right. So start by creating the habit of liking, subscribing, and sharing the content that we put out for you guys every single week. All right. Don't hold back. If you feel like there's somebody who might benefit from watching this video, please do me a favor and share it. Subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Stay focused. You got this. Let's go.